it off, so there is another boundary then for the tally.
Sorry, I miscounted. That was in fact the ninth boundary there in before.
There we go. But no, it illustrates the point though. At the moment, first 10 overs, the field is up. If you can, be patient.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of defence. And Vic was saying at one point, the way the
.40 without a wicket if you are to get to 300, because Australia's belligerence lies in the fact that they are so good with the new ball, and so they'll be coming hard at Pakistan. And if they can weather the storm, just be sensible in that period, they can get to 300.
Baba awaits Richardson.
For a while for Pakistan.
Richardson, a bustling run up and a pull and a miss from Imam. Swivels 360 degrees, it goes through to Carey. He dropped his hand at the last moment. I think that was a full-blooded attempt.
Yeah.
40 for 1 then after 8.
So, I mean, Imam has batted for 26 balls. Babar has batted for 20. So, I think you've got to milk the advantage of your occupying the crease, and that is critical. The 20s and the 30s are not going to win you this contest particularly. So they need a centurion from the top 3, and then maybe get a 70 from 70 runs or 50 balls from one of their middle order batsmen to get to 300. So that is how the script has to be written.
Build some good partnerships.
Yeah.
This one worth 38 so far of 35 balls. Mohammed Hafiz still to come, and Sarfraz, Asif Ali, the powerful hitter, the experience of Shoaib Malik. Then you're into Wahab Riaz, Hassan Ali, Shine Shah Afridi and Amir makes up this Pakistan lineup. And Nathan Coulter-Nile is on from our end of the ground, the Somerset Pavilion end, with the church and the graveyard behind us as Coulter-Nile is in, and it's angled, squirted well for outside edge of Babar Azam, down to third man, and they're able to jog through for 1 as Carey gathers over the stumps. So Coulter-Nile, who made such an impact with bats previously in the tournament, 31 years of age.
I think what he'll try to do is to hit that hard length and let the pitch do something for him. Still something in it for it. And so as a batsman, you're never in. I feel that if you are disciplined and get 6 balls in a cluster in one area, you can get a very good response from it.
Coming in now to Imam, 2 slips still there. Right arm over to the left-hander, tucks it off his hip. Very, very fine, down to the boundary for 4 more. So this is a little bit of early danger signs for Australia. They'll be very wary here. It didn't get any bat on it. Leg byes signalled. So, but still, it's the runs. It's the runs, and they're coming.
So I'll be reminding myself, if I was batting out there, that the medium pacers are no Glenn McGrath. So they'll bowl a couple of balls, good, decent balls, and then they'll provide you with a window, a little window. Yeah. So wait for that window to open. That
is just the danger for Australia and the worrying part of this at the moment. Good defence again from Imam, just getting in behind the delivery of on length. He went back, covered up, confident shout of no as well. So it does feel as if these two are in quite an assured mode at the moment. It feels quite calm out there in the middle, which is sort of reflected in the crowd, isn't it? Yes, as Pakistan fans who are quietly watching on and not getting too overexcited or just... I shocked them. They're asking me whether Pakistan can win this, and I gave them thumbs down, and so I got... Did you get booed? Yeah. There goes Coulter-Nile, defended outside the off stump, angled into the ground. It's a better delivery. Fact of the matter is that you can't write them out, Pakistan, because on the day they'll be impossible to beat. You can't write them off. Yeah, I think, and the fans feel the same way, so they back them to the hilt. But the fans also slightly nervous that 2 quick wickets fall and things could change very quickly. Yeah. Coulter-Nile in, defence again, but Coulter-Nile gets a hand to it in his follow through, picked up by Finch at mid-on, and so no run. Good crowd here in at Taunton today. Very good. lively and getting into the festive spirits. You could tell there must have been a big influx of visitors to the town, because I arrived at the train station yesterday, not a taxi to be seen.
Seriously?
A queue then of about, I think about 6 of us all got off the same train. And then when we started ringing around some companies, one got the reply that you'd have to wait an hour. As Coulton I was in, angled wide of second slip, down to third man, and a single. So keeping the strike rotated, 46 for 1 after 9. That is Imam now on 19 and Baba on 22. I think that's going to be a change in commentary. Rami, so with a few more words from you, and it is good to see the spectators flock down to Taunton for this one, because it is a big match, Australia against Pakistan. World Cup points at stake here. Rami, a few more thoughts from you. Simon's coming in.
Yeah, it's so good that the rain has stayed away, because the fans want to be part of the World Cup, and they come from far areas to feel the World Cup flavour.
Here is Kane Richardson round the wicket and bowls, and it's defended by Imam. Tight line off stump, and Imam respected the ball and played it back to the bowler, and there was no rain. Ramis, but what's that? We mentioned that. Talking about.
Yeah, I think Australia can allow themselves to just be disciplined. They don't need any magic deliveries here. Just put pressure by bowling straight line and see Pakistan react.
Got 2 slips in. Richardson goes in and bowls. Oh, that one flies through. Imam plays at it, bounces a bit and goes through to Carey. And that's what we've seen all day from this pitch.
A bit of carry for Carey.
Yeah. And Imam, well, what do you do as a batsman? Just walk away to square leg, shrugged. Well, I've touched it. I'm still here. On you go.
It's a very good angle to get that ball to move away from the left-hander's off stump by coming round the stumps.
Here he goes again to bowl to the left-handed Imam, and he plays away from his body there. That just moved fraction away from him as well, but got a thick edge, and it went down towards third man. And wide of those 2 slips, went down the 4th slip gully region to third man. So another run, 47 for 1, Pakistan. They're in the 10th over. Imam has 20. Babar Azam has 22. They've recovered well since the early loss of FAK Azam. I must say, when I thought FAK, he was the one that could get them off to a flyer, and when he went early, thought, not sure Pakistan are going to be up to this, but these two have battled back well. Still early days in their innings though. Richardson bowls. Oh, and he nearly plays on there. Babar Azam cut back in, got an inside edge onto his body, then the ball rolled past off stump and down into the slip area. That was a bit of good fortune for Babar Azam.
Yeah, I mean, batsmen can't play the pitch. It's important that you just look at the ball and not worry about the exceptional bounce or ball cutting you in half, because that'll happen. The moment you stop looking at the ball and start playing the pitch is a problem then.
Richardson to Babar, and Babar plays slightly away from his body there, going a bit leg side, pushed it away into the offside towards backward point. It was picked up by Maxwell, and there's no run. I mean, in a way, it's a quite good conditions for playing a one-day international. The bowler's in the game, but the batsman can still score. The boundaries are quite short. There's some pace in the pitch, some bounce in the pitch. It's good for the bowlers, and the batsman can flourish as well. If you're good enough. Warner made 100 for goodness sake, and Finch made 82, but then Amir took 5 wickets. Here is a ball on leg stump. That's 4 runs. Just losing his line there, Richardson, and glanced away by Babar Azam. Fine leg up inside the circle. And that raced down to the boundary, and we've reached the end of the power play, and Pakistan have bounced back well from the early loss of FAK Azam. They are 51 for 1, with Babar up to 26 with his 6th boundary.
Yeah, I think he tried to hit the deck hard, and so he lost the shape on that one, and Babar is just too classy a player to miss out on such deliveries on the pads. So, and generally, batsmen from subcontinent are so good with their wrist whenever the ball is pitched on middle and leg stump line, but this partnership now looking pretty rosy.
That was worth 49. Be Coulton Nile to bowl. Second over, his first over yielded 2 runs, just waiting for umpire Rashida Paliagaruga to signal to the scorers that we're in the second power play, which means Australia can release 2 more fielders outside the circle. What they've done is they've released only 1 Slip and a gully in. Coulter-Nile, right arm over the wicket. Bowls to Babar Azam, who's in behind that. Dabbing it in. The offside, short of mid-off, short of Warner. And if you can get a single to Warner, then you've done well. Yeah, that was well judged.
Yeah, I think singles are such an important arsenal up your sleeve. You tend to forget that because you're looking at the ball, you're looking at crashing it for 4, and so you absolutely forget the major ingredient of putting pressure on the opposition, which is rotation of strike.
Yeah, it can be so crucial as well when you get to those tight finishes. You think about those sort of 10, 12 runs you might have missed earlier if you hadn't taken those singles. Here's Coulter-Nile bowling, short outside the off stump. Initial flinch there from Babar Azam, and then he withdrew the bat from the line of the ball. And it's through to Kerry, comes down the pitch to do some gardening. 52 for 1, so the 50 partnership up in 48 balls. Pakistan are chasing 308 to win if you just switched on. Australia at one stage, well, looks as if they were set for a score of 350 plus, but they were dragged back. Coulter-Nile into bowl to Babar Azam, who eases him down the ground before. That's a magnificent shot. He barely hit that.
Yeah.
Just one high-class shot from Babar Azam.
Yeah, it wasn't a half volley. I think it was a hard length, and he just waited on the ball and just went through the line on top of the bounce, and such a beautiful on drive that was.
The most fascinating aspect of it is he barely seemed to hit it.
Yeah.
It was all about timing. Right, they've taken a slip out now. And one of the close catches just down to one slip. It's outside the off stump from Coulter-Nile. There's no stroke from Babar Azam. And it's through to Carey. It's a bit overcast, the lights are on. But if Pakistan continue like this, then we could well have a fascinating game here. And actually probably the World Cup needs it. And we had that interesting game between India and Australia on Sunday. But we just had the lull with the rain days. It'd be nice to get back into full tilt really with a ripper. Here goes Coulter-Nile, bowling short, and that's swatted away down towards fine legs. Is he going to be caught? He is. He's caught on the fine leg boundary, top edge. Coulter-Nile gets a wicket with a short ball, and Babar Azam goes for 30. And Pakistan are 56 for 2. Australia celebrate, but barely anybody else in this ground does. Lots of Pakistan support, and they are stunned by that dismissal of Babar Azam. Key player, he makes his way slowly off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, just picked the wrong shot to play, and I think excellent bowling from Coulter-Nile, because you probably don't expect a shorter length from a medium pacer, especially after he's been hit down the ground. So you forced him into a defensive frame of mind, and certainly he delivers a bouncer and a very good height as well. So it was top edge, and so that's a massive loss for Pakistan. The rhythm is broken, the set batsman is out, and advantage Australia big time.
Yeah, that feels like a game changer, that dismissal. And Mohammed Hafiz is in at number 4 for Pakistan. It's Kane Richardson with another catch. He went straight to him, down on that fine leg boundary. And sometimes on this Taunton ground, especially that boundary down there, it's quite short. It could fly over the fielder's head, but it landed in his lap.
30 off 28 balls, 7 fours, 2 singles, 18 dot balls, and the wicket. If you factor in artistic impression, it's probably a solid 60, but doesn't really come into the equation, sadly.
No, it's hugely disappointing for Pakistan. He's shaped really well.
Yeah, I mean,
he's on his way.
Enjoying his batting more than anything else, because this is going to be a steep run chase anyway. So you wanted Babar Azam to stick around and show us his class, because those 7 boundaries, all of them were proper shots.
Right, so the very experienced Mohammed Hafiz, who played excellently against England last Monday week. It seems a long time ago, that match now. Last time Pakistan were able to get out into the field. He was the leading scorer. He was badly dropped by Jason Roy early on in his innings on 14. 2 slips and a gully in. Australia drilled into the offside, but straight to Steve Smith, who's feeling at extra cover. And there is no run. .59 for 2 in the 12th over. Hafiz on 1. And those
one of the 3 top order batsmen.
Here is Coulter-Nile to bowl to Hafiz. It's
Short leg fielder becomes that much more important.
61 for 2. Imam on strike. Coulter-Nile bowls outside the off stump, cut away. Down towards wide third man. They're off for a single. Richardson sends in the return to Kerry, who tips that over the bar. Actually, he's on the stretch, the wicket-keeper. Australia had 2 men backing up behind him. Richardson just a bit too much on that throw from the deep. Another run. Imam going after a wide ball from Coulter-Nile. Actually, that felt like and again, it felt like a boundary ball, but he didn't quite hit it out the middle.
Yeah.
62 for 2. Last ball of the 13th. Coulter-Nile goes in and bowls to Hafiz. And that's a decent delivery. Just leaving him. He pushed at it. He missed it. And it was through to wicketkeeper Carey. Ramiz is on his way. Michael is coming in to replace him. And Andy Zoltzman got a few thoughts for us.
Mohammad Amir's fifer for Pakistan was the 10th 5-wicket haul by a left-arm pace bowler for Pakistan. The most recent, Usman Shinwari against Sri Lanka 2 years ago, Wahab Riaz in the semi-final of the World Cup in 2011, and Sohail Tanvir in 2008. The other 6 were all taken by Wasim Akram. So Amir's just the 10th and the 4th not by Wasim.
Here goes Maxwell and bowls to Imam, who turns that backward square for a single. Has Mohammad Amir now got the best World Cup figures on this ground? The reason I asked that, of course, is because somebody who's in our commentary team today had very good bowling figures on this ground in a World Cup match. I would have thought he's probably gone past him, hasn't he? I think Victor was 5 for 39. Here's Maxwell bowling. It's driven by Hafiz, square with the wicket on the offside. Out towards the deep point boundary. Richardson sends in the return. Another run to the total, 64 for 2 in the 14th.
I have distressing news for Vic Marks fans. He's off the podium for best World Cup figures in Taunton.
I thought so.
He was in silver medal position before this tournament with his 5 for 39 back in 83. Robin Singh of India.
Here goes Maxwell bowling to Imam, who plays that square of the wicket on the offside. There's no run.
5 for 31 against Sri Lanka here in 1999. Jimmy Neesham 5 for 31 the other day against Afghanistan.
Yeah. Maxwell in, dabbed away by Imam into the offside, short of Finch, and Finch's throw hits the stumps, but Hafiz has backed up well and made his ground at the striker's end. One more, 65 for 2. So he's not in the top 3 anymore.
No. Still best by a spinner though.
Right. So Amir, Robin Singh and Jimmy Neesham.
I'm going to go as far as saying that I don't think it's ever going to get beaten by a spinner. 5 for 39.
Yeah, you're probably right actually.
Magnificent figures on this venue.
Here's Maxwell bowling, dabbed away by Hafiz, sets off for a single, it's not there, and just gets back in time. Warner onto it, sending in the return to Carey.
Particularly in this era of the game.
Yeah. Unless they produce absolute raging turnover one day.
Even 10 overs of spin, you'd still probably go for more than 39.
Yeah. Maxwell to complete the over. Bowls to Hafiz, comes down the pitch and hits him over extra cover for 4. Well, that was the sort of intent that really I think we were expecting from Pakistan against Maxwell at some point. Australia's 5th bowler today. 69 for 2 out of 14. Imam 26. Hafiz, who is a good player of spin, as Rami's told us, is on 8. 308 the target. Here's Michael, and then it will be Jeff Lemon.
Yeah, I mean, Mohammad Hafiz produced a wonderful innings against England. He had a bit of fortune. Jason Roy dropped him on the boundary when he was on 14, but his first ball was against Moeen Ali, and he danced down and hit him straight down the ground over the top. So he'll...
make sure he bats through, do that sort of glue role that he's done quite well in recent times.
Yeah, I mean, if he can bat, you know, just the way that we've seen him bat of late, and we got a tremendous 100 against England in Bristol, just playing orthodox strokes, and then he can have a cameo or two from the likes of Hafiz or Shoaib Malik, Asif Ali. They'll get close to this target, Pakistan.
Kultanile to Hafiz, short and pulled. Nicely done, just the short arm jab really through mid-wicket. They'll get a couple of runs as Cummins sweeps around in the deep. Hafiz goes on to 10. Pakistan 72 for 2 in the 15th.
Yeah, Aaron Finch has been on the attack. He's got 2 slips still in place for Hafiz. He's had 3 slips. He's had a short leg. Cover points now going on the boundary. Still got the 2 slips in place, so he's hunting wickets.
Kultanile running away from us at the graveyard end, bowling to Hafiz wide and left alone outside the off stump. Very test match. Aaron Finch has probably got memories of Mohammad Hafiz because Finch debuted in Dubai back in October, and I was commentating that game where Hafiz had been out of the side for 2 years, came back in and played his first test for 2 years, rattled up 100 by the tea break. They were none for 205, I think, at about tea with he and Imam, so this pair. And Aaron Finch spent his first day of Test cricket chasing leather in 45-degree heat, so he's probably got a bit of PTSD about that. Outside the off stump, steered away to third man by Hafiz, kept through for a single.
Yeah, we're right behind the bowler's arm, and there is a little bit of movement there. That last delivery just seemed away from Hafiz, and he kind of he wasn't fully committed to the stroke. It went off the thick outside edge down to third man. They had, when he first came to the crease, 2 slips and a 5th, 6th catcher, and that's exactly where it went. They have a similar field to Imam Al-Haq, just 1 slip in that 5th, 6th catcher on the kind of line down to third man.
Yeah, kind of point, almost gully, isn't it? Third man slip. Coulter-Nile, slower ball, driven out through the covers nicely, but the sweeper is there in the form of Cummins for the left-hander. So just the 1 run. Pakistan 74 for 2. Imam 28, Hafiz 11. They're chasing 308 after they popped Australia in this morning. At one point it looked like Australia might be on for 360, 380.
Well, they should have got that, shouldn't they?
None for 124, I think, at about the halfway mark. 24 overs in, and then the wickets started to fall gradually. Wasn't a collapse, but just that regular pegging back. Coulter-Nile to the right-handed Hafiz, beating his outside edge. Might have just played inside the line eventually, Hafiz. He might have just pulled his bat inside the line to give him some credit for how he played that delivery. The over comes to an end, 5 runs from it. 74 for 2, Pakistan chasing 308. Imam 28, Hafiz 11. And it's worth noting that there are in-play highlights of this game and every game at the World Cup on the BBC Sport website and app. There's a live blog there with the in-play highlights embedded, so you can see the big shots and the wickets and so on. And there are lots of podcasts you can listen to throughout the tournament. There's a new episode of the TMS podcast every day that we record once the match has come to an end. Maxwell starting a new over. By Imam, where Finch picks up. Tuffers and Vaughan is, how do you rate it? 5 stars?
Well, yeah, I think I'm the only one that does.
Maxwell, around the wicket to the left-hander who goes back and cuts, but straight to Finch at point. 3 dots in a row.
Yeah, we had Curtly Ambrose on this week. Oh, it was, he's great. Just listen to, didn't like facing him. Listen to him all night.
Maxwell flights that ball, willing to give it some air, and Imam drives it out to deep point. He'll get through for a single and thinks about a second, but won't come. Pakistan 75 for 2.
Yeah, and we're hoping on Monday to have Robin Smith, anyone that's read the papers today. He's done lots.
Trying a late cut, straight to backward point, no run.
Yeah, it was Bumble Lloyd. David Lloyd used to invite the likes of myself, Anthony McGrath, back in the day at Yorkshire when we were 19, 20, 21. And we'd get invited to be 12th man for England just to experience the vibe of international cricket.
Maxwell, fully pitched. Hafiz drives a single down to long off. 76 for 2 at the end of the 16th over.
Yeah, and Robin Smith was always incredible to be around. Just so polite, just humble. Passed on lots of stories, played against him many times when he was at Hampshire. And he used to describe you know, if he'd spent the day in the field, you go in the car park at night, you'd be back in the nets. The nets were right by the car park, by the squash courts at the old ground in Southampton, and he'd just be hitting ball after ball with his dad feeding him. Great guy.
You could see that work ethic up close.
Oh yeah.
He gave an extraordinary interview to one of the major London papers where he mentioned you and mentioned having seen your comment that you'd looked up to him growing up and saying that he felt like he couldn't live up to that because he doubted himself so much. Start of a new over, Richardson in a tangle of limbs bowling to Hafiz, called through for the quick single by Imam at the non-striker's end. He was alive to it as Hafiz just dropped the ball at his own feet, and Hafiz answers the call. 77 for 2.
Yeah, that's good from Pakistan, isn't it? Just nice and aware, nice and alert. That's what they have to do. They chase down 308 to win. It's not all about boundaries, 4s and 6s. It's about rotating the shot, particularly when you've got right hand, left hand out there, just to keep giving the bowler someone different to look at every 2 or 3 balls.
But yeah, it's always helpful to hear from people who've achieved so much, but to hear how they struggle with mental health. They have demons that pursue them, as Richardson bowls to Imam, who goes for another drop and run, and he's the one calling yes as well, and he's called well because he's dived in at the non-striker's end and made it 78 for 2.
Yeah, Aaron Finch just manoeuvring himself from mid-on quite quickly and then pick up with his left hand, his left-handed throw, and just flicks it square of the wicket towards the stumps. But I think the dive would have saved Imam al-Haq. Oh, the square cut, the Robin Smith square cut off the front foot. Anyone that's not seen it, just go on YouTube.
Williams comes in and drives. Kane Richardson driven away, out through the covers. That's going to roll away for 4. That was barely struck. It just looked like he'd checked that drive, Mohammad Hafeez, but timed it to perfection. And Kane Richardson has given up his first boundary of the over. 82 for 2, the Pakistan score. You can hear the cheers around the ground. It's largely Pakistan support here at a relatively small ground. Do you know what the capacity is here? More or less? I should have asked Big Marks.
I'm guessing 8,500.
There you go.
Guessing.
That's a pretty detailed guess, though. Richardson in short at the body, and this time there is no drop and run. Richardson's alive to it now and bolts in at that ball after Hafeez drops it at his own feet.
Yeah, I had a brief second to count. Yeah, I'm guessing. What is it, Andy?
Well, according to Wikipedia, Michael, would you believe it? It has a capacity of 8,500.
Well, it's amazing how quick you can count. And that must be good. To our right, that looks like a temporary stand.
Yeah.
Put up for the World Cup, so maybe more for the World Cup, Andy.
Kane Richardson, back of a length, outside off, carved away, but Maxwell at backward point will seize that ball to his left.
See, just going back to Robin Smith, I remember when the first overseas tours was televised in 1990. Robin Smith playing the full-strided, forward defensive to the West Indies quicks. Big stride and the full face of the bat, and the short ball coming. He always used to sway out the way of the bouncer.
Richardson into Hafeez. Cut away again. This time it beats Maxwell. Goes square of him. Available, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are. But I think we were looking last night. He played 62 Test matches, Robin Smith, of which 19 were against the West Indies. So you could say just under a third of his Test career was against the West Indies, and he averaged 44 against the West Indies.
Almost by muscle memory, I almost commentated that delivery that I was watching.
We will do after
Robin
this ball.
Maxwell starting a new over to Hafeez. Backs away, carves it backwards a point. Richardson is called into action again to chase that back towards the boundary. They'll get back for 2 runs. And Hafeez takes his score on to 24 as the ball bounced inside the rope.
Yeah, when you think Maxwell's the 5th bowler today for Australia, he's into his 4th over, and he's gone for 19. Hafeez is such a good player as spin. I think Aaron Finch will have to turn back to see him at both ends to attack Hafeez.
Might see a bit of Finch himself bowling, or Steve Smith perhaps, and it might need something. Straight down the ground goes Hafeez. He's got every single bit of that, and it hits the second tier of the pavilion down at the river end of the ground and bounces back into the dancing crowd of Pakistan fans beneath it. That was just a clean straight strike. Pakistan 95 for 2 as Mohammad Hafeez contorted like a pretzel. He's getting out of the way of this ball and it's zooming past his grill. It's just an extraordinary action photograph, but to have the reflexes to be able to evade that sort of attacking bowling, it's a wonderful thing what the human body can do and the human mind. You put them together. People separate art and sport, but to my mind they're basically the same thing.
And courage, the amount of courage that he used to show facing those quicks. You just looked at a few of those clips. Malcolm Marshall bowling at him, Patrick Pattinson, and you got Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh. He copped the West Indies when they were heavily loaded with quicks. Not that many West Indian side don't have a few quicks. They've got a few these days.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that they've rejuvenated their attack. They've got their Australia looked a little disjointed in their squad selection and their 11 today.
Jeff, I'll just bring to the attention that Mohammed Hafiz has clearly gone for a comfort break because he's not come back. It's just his gloves, his bat and his helmet out in the middle.
Okay. Either that or there's been some sort of radiation accident. He's now invisible. It's hard to bowl at.
He's disappeared.
It does look a little bit like a sort of cartoon where someone's hit so hard that their shoes remain where they were standing, but they've disappeared. The gloves, the bat and the helmet are all out in the middle.
You don't see this often, do you?
No.
Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. He's just come from just a nice picket fence here at Taunton, past the digital advertising hoardings. Just taking his time, no rush, in your own time.
Jogging back on. We've had the chance to hear the World Cup theme song about 6 times in the interim, just as well. We certainly haven't heard it enough. Now he's just slowly putting his gear back on.
Well, he's getting some help from Iman Ul-Haq now, so Iman Ul-Haq's going to have to
run back to the...
Go back another 22 yards. He said, sorry, still, just take your time. No rush.
Well, yeah, Imam's come down and handed Hafiz his gloves and his bat. Hafiz then immediately throws them on the ground so he can put his helmet back on. So it hasn't been a model of efficiency, but we've got there in the end. Hafiz is back. He's at the non-striker's end. He's ready to go. Imam's ready to face. Who benefits from this long delay? Kane Richardson bowls short at the ribs, and Imam turns the ball away to deep square leg. They go through for 1, so that was uneventful. At least, had a wicket fallen at that point, everyone would have been all on Mohammed Hafiz saying it was his fault. So the score was 98 for 2.
Yeah, just look at Australia at this same stage. 113 for naught. Rate required 6.6. The original rate was 6.16, so they've not allowed the rate to get too high, Pakistan, even though they've lost a couple of early-ish wickets.
They're up to 5.4 at the moment thanks to Hafiz's attack on Maxwell. He attacks Richardson as well. A hard square cut, but the sweeper will get around from cover and keep it to a single. 99 for 2. So 5.4, they're sort of thereabouts if they can, keep that required rate under about 7 until the last 15 overs or so, then they can start to get going.
I reckon if you go down to the last 15 you're needing 8. I don't think it's too much of a worry for this modern player.
Imam waiting for Richardson, who's come around the wicket, just opening the face, running a single. The easy get-off strike shot for the one-day international game. And the 100 comes up. The cheer goes around the ground. 100 for the loss of 2. 2 wickets fallen so far, both caught at fine leg off the hook shot. Fakhar Zaman didn't last long. Well, he was a steer really to third man, but down in the same part of the ground where Richardson was fielding.
Yeah, we've had some great atmospheres at a number of the games in this year's World Cup.
Richardson to Hafiz. Off the hip. A single through square leg. 101 for 2.
Bangladesh supporters have created plenty of noise at the Oval, particularly when they beat South Africa. Pakistan against England at Trent Bridge, but I've got a feeling this smaller venue could be absolutely rocking. If Pakistan can get to over 200 and have a few wickets left in the tank.
Well, I do love the way Mohammed Hafiz goes about his work. His innings against England was exceptional, just always dynamic, always looking to make something happen. Not the sort of player who sits and waits. Richardson to Imam, who cuts and cuts hard. Could pick up a boundary here behind point. The big sprint and dive for Pat Cummins. He rolls into the rope, and I don't think he saved it. He crawls gingerly back towards the ball and looks a little bruised and battered for his effort. But a boundary for Pakistan, 105 for 2. Hafiz, 33. Imam takes his score up to 37.
Yeah, nice delivery to get as a batsman on your in. It's not too short, but it's wide. It just sits up. Lovely timing.
Kane Richardson a bit unhappy with the fielding there. Cummins got there but couldn't keep it in. Short ball down leg side. It's a wide. That can happen when a bowler gets rattled. You could hear the Maria Sharapova's through the stump mic. Just gave that a real grunt as he let it go, Richardson, but that extra effort took it down leg.
It's going to come over the wicket because of that two-ball combination. The short wide one went for 4 and then the wide down the leg side. He's going to change the angle and come over the wicket. Same field, a slip in place still. Aaron Finch on the charge, needs wickets.
106 for 2 as Richardson drives to Imam, strides forward to that and just plays a checked defensive out to Cummins at that deep cover sweeper position. One more run results. Pakistan 107 for 2. Imam 38, Hafiz 33. I'll leave you with Michael Vaughan, and Daniel Norcross will be in next.
Go on, Andy, you look like you're ready to go.
Oh, I was looking at the balance of the Australian team. We've talked quite a bit about the lack of balance in their team and their squad. And in terms of 6th bowling options, they've got Aaron Finch, who has 3 wickets in 113 matches. Only one of them in the last 5 years, although that was early this year against Pakistan. Steve Smith has 27 wickets in ODI cricket, but the last of them was in November 2014. And Khawaja and Sean Marsh have not bowled, so they are a little short. And David Warner 1 over in his entire career, so it's a poorly balanced team.
Well, you think that they will have to bring a spinner in on the bigger grounds for one of the seamers, and Stoinis will probably come in for Khawaja. You would feel Khawaja batting lower and lower unless he opens. I don't see how.
In the batting. Stark starts a new over from the river end. Imam ul Haq on strike, slips still in, and gets turned round, gets a thick edge, it squirts down to 3rd man, where Khawaja does the fielding, and the target is now exactly 200 runs away at 108 for 2, with 31 overs. I think this could be. You called it earlier. You said it was on.
Well, it can be on if they play sensibly. They don't have to do too much here, Pakistan, because it's such a quick scoring ground by playing orthodox. You don't really have to go searching for the glory shots. Just play good control cricket strokes and you should score at 5 and 6s. You start trying to challenge at 10 and over, 12 and over. You know, you look at Australia, as soon as they start trying to go for the big shots, they ended up getting out. They didn't need to do it so soon.
This is Stark. He's into his second ball of his first over that spell, and this next delivery is full and just defended back up the wicket to the bowler. There's no run.
Just look at the tactics here, Dan. You've got 6 fielders in the circle. They can have one more out, but Aaron Finch has gone to his strike bowl. He's got square leg back, fine leg back, 3rd man back, and everyone else in, and a slip in place. So he's trying to force the big shot. He knows that he needs a wicket. That's why he's turned to Stark, and that's why he's creating this kind of field.
There's plenty of batting to come, so he's desperate for a wicket here in some senses, as Stark is in, left arm over the wicket to the right-handed Hafiz, who pulls without timing out through mid-wicket. He's going to pick up at least 1 for it. It'll just be the 1, as it's picked up by the square leg fielder running round the boundary. Throw comes in, 109 for 2.
Where have those kangaroos gone? They were chirpy.
Oh man,
where have they gone?
Did you like them?
Well, I enjoyed a little bit of the banter, yeah.
Did you? They were very Australian.
Yeah, well, they've not been seen since the Aussie started.
I saw the carcass of them in the lunch hall. You know, the sort of outer.
I see. So
the
we could actually
kangaroo
send someone to get in there, could we?
Yeah, we could. Undermine them. Give an English kangaroo some perspective, some balance. And Stark is into Imam, drives full ball to wide mid-off. It bounces off the fielder and there is no run.
There's no swing. Nothing through the air for Mitchell Stark.
Got easier and easier to bat, didn't it, in Australia's innings, he felt, until that last stretch when everything changed again the last 10 overs. Was that the Mohammed Amir effect, or?
Well, they were playing some because of the platform that was created, they played some big shots, and they just didn't execute them well enough.
Maxwell's dismissal felt rather important to me. It did trigger a collapse as the left arm Stark is in, and down the leg side. It's going to be signalled a wide. It didn't even brush a pocket or a thigh pad. 110 for 2. Imam has 39 from 57. He's playing that anchor role you want him to play. Hafiz 34 off 31. We've been sort of talking about, trying to sort of scenario build towards the end of this innings. Asif Ali, we've seen him hit a mean long ball. But you sort of suspect that he doesn't want to be coming in with 100 to get 70, 60, do you think, off 8 or 9 overs as Stark bounds in from the river end, and Imam gets a bouncer which he evades by ducking. It goes through to Carey, and there's no run.
Yeah, well, I would think Pakistan would leave him till those last 10 overs. So use the likes of Shoaib Malik, Sarfraz Ahmed. Yeah, I think Sarfraz is a lovely player. He's busy, active, typical keeper, bit bonkers. Hits the ball in silly areas that you don't have fielders. It's just the way that the keepers go about their business, and just leave Asif Ali for those striking overs at the end.
Here is Stark to complete his over, his 4th over. And Imam drives gently up to mid-on. That is the end of an over which conceded 3 runs. None for 19, Stark in 4. 110 for 2. Imam Ul-Haq has 39. Mohammad Hafiz has 34. In part here, that the smart way to play, Michael, would it be to think Stark's going to have a 3-over burst, probably, tops, yeah?
Yep.
And just sit in against him?
Well, if you read it in terms of Australia, where they need a wicket, so what does Mitchell Stark have to do? He has to try and make something happen. So as a batsman, you should say, OK, he's got to make something happen. So he's probably going to go for the glory ball or so, which could offer an opportunity to score. So I don't think you have to chase too much when you're facing Mitchell Stark. His role in this Australian team is to get wickets. So if he hasn't got a wicket, which he didn't in the first over, the next over he might gamble on a Yorker, which might give you an opportunity to drive down the ground or through the covers. If he doesn't get it right, he might try a short ball or two. I think the pull shot is a difficult shot to start because he's quick. And particularly the right-handed to feed sometimes can be going away from you when you're playing the pull shot, goes straight in the air. So that'd be one shot that I'd be wary of playing to someone like Mitchell Stark.
Coulter Nile from the graveyard end is in, and Hafiz defends a full ball but with an angled bat, so he gets it just past backward point, shy at the stumps, hits, but Imam is there. He's decided to just clutch the back of his leg briefly there with the stretch, but everything's fine. He's got through for that single. 111 for 2.
Pakistan cannot afford a run out. That was a well judged run, but you don't want to be taking Glenn Maxwell on too often. Very rarely misses.
He's a handy fielder, isn't he, Maxwell?
He's a handy cricketer, but so frustrating. The shot he played today was bizarre. He played so well, he just knocks it around. All of a sudden the seamers come on. I think that's what you have to target Maxwell with. As soon as he comes out there, you can't put the spin on, just bowl the seamers.
Round the wicket comes Coulter Nile, and Imam advances to him. The ball goes down the leg side, is signalled wide. So get off Nelson pretty quickly. 112 for 2. It was a weird shot because it just wasn't there for the shot he was hitting, was it?
No, I mean, he just didn't use his feet. He didn't move. Not a big one for a huge amount of foot movement, but you've got to dip your head back towards the ball, and a small movement of the feet is important. He just didn't move at all. Just tried to hit it over the top.
Coulter Nile again from round the wicket to Imam, who works a hip-high ball back to a square on the onside there. Run the first quickly, and Imam has slipped at the far end in rather comical fashion. His left leg slowly went up in the air, his right leg stayed on the ground as if he was sort of doing gentle thigh exercises, but he wasn't.
Yeah, well, the pitch next to the one that we're playing on is just full of grass, so it can be a little bit slippy. Just reminds me of Triscothic.
I was going to say, you've seen that. Is it 3 times?
Have I? No, twice.
Just twice.
Marvellous it was. It's the moment of the summer for me.
Coulter Nile in again, and Hafiz gets turned round slightly by this ball. It's a bit of a leading edge, goes along the ground.
Even Victor next to me, still chuckling, just thinking about the Triscothic. You've seen it, Victor.
What I particularly loved about it was the resignation after the second fall, and his partners run 2/3 of the way down. Triscothick's looking at him and go, no.
But the best bit
no,
about
I'm not bothering.
The best bit about it is that he slips on the pitch because it's a bit green, so he reverts to running the second to the pitch next door because it looks a bit dry, and he slips on that one as well.
Coulton Island, and Hafiz defends a full ball, actively covers Khawaja Fields again. Again, there's no run, 113 for 2. If you haven't seen it, I urge you to go and find this clip. You also feel slightly sorry for the indignity of a man who's played so much cricket, so well over so long, to find himself in a heap on his posterior twice, and that someone was filming it.
There's no hiding place these days. Doesn't matter what cricket you're playing, there's always someone with a camera.
Coulton Island shorter, and that's worked off his body, down in front of him by Hafiz, and Coulton Isle scampers through in his follow-through. So again, there's no run. 3 dot balls.
Yeah, just a little bit happening here for Australia with the start. We're just going for 3. Just 3 from this one as well. Just a hint of pressure starting to build.
The weak links in this innings have been Richardson and Maxwell, haven't they? And there aren't any other options, are there, for Finch? I mean, so he could bowl himself, but
Smithy. Steve Smith's leg spin.
Yeah. A bit of Warner, perhaps?
Oh, please.
You'd like that, would you?
Yeah.
None of them are optimal options, you might say. Coulton Island to complete his over. And Hafiz gets a wide ball, which he plays a cut at and misses. And that seemed like a harsh decision from the umpire. He's given a wide there. 114 for 2. At the moment, Pakistan, the last couple of overs, have scored the majority of their runs in wides as Michael Vaughan departs. And Vic Marks rejoins us. Andy Zoltzman.
Yeah, 3 of the last 6 runs, in fact 4 of the last 8 in wides.
Thank you. Coulton Isle turns away from us. Runs in and it's dabbed through backward point for a single. I was thinking, he might come back for a second. No, he does not as the throw comes in. 115 for 2. End of the 21st over. Andy, while I've got you, I need to ask you a question from one of our listeners who asked me to ask you if you have enough stats now, and the data indeed in the first place, to be able to identify who is the best batsman at facing free hits. You have responded to that challenge with a look of terrible woe and resignation.
Not in the databases I have access to, I think. I will have a rummage.
Is that a no, really?
Well, no. It's a probably not.
Have we got to go to Andrew Sampson again?
We were.
That's not a nice thing to say, isn't it? Don't worry, I've got his number.
In terms of the bowling options, we were just talking about that. Warner's bowled 1 over in his ODI career.
Sounds like it's not going to be easy, old chummers. Stark in, start a new over's pulled. Fine-ish. Well, back.
By a huge margin than Australia and lots of Pakistan, and you can sense, especially off that boundary, they're starting to believe. If they don't already. There's a game on here. There's a futile attempt at a Wexham wave which petered out because the game's too absorbing for that.
Stark, this is his 5th over into Imam-ul-Haq. who gets a full ball. He works the short mid-wicket. There's no run. He has moved to 44 with that boundary, the ball before. Hafiz has 37, but 308. The reason why people don't necessarily chase targets of over 300 very often is because it's quite a lot of runs. Things can happen. It takes time to get there. Wickets can fall. A couple of wickets fall now, and that Duckworth Lewis
indeed,
target
Jeffrey
would be much higher. Just have I really channeled Jeffrey already? I'm only 50. Stark runs in towards us, left arm over the wicket to the left-handed Imam, who guides a ball quite close to his body, but with an angled bat down to Coulter Nile on the third man boundary for one more. He moves to 45, 121 for 2. You just sense this game is bubbling, and the Pakistan fans are in full voice. I wonder, often you get Mexican waves when there have been a load of singles into wides, don't you? A 4 tends to put an end to a Mexican wave.
Yeah, they're doing one now. It's sort of a slightly lukewarm one, but it's gaining a bit of momentum. It's gone past Ian Botham's stand, through the Colin Atkinson pavilion, heading toward to the Andy Caddick pavilion.
So many luminaries of Somerset cricket. The Stark is in. A bouncer, very high bouncer, not being given as a wide. Hafiz has a very stern look at the square leg umpire, as if to say,
how could you not?
What are you talking about, Willis? He's thinking, that's an extraordinarily high bouncer. He's got away with it. End of the over. 22 overs have been bowled. 121 for 2. The target, 308. Imam-ul-Haq has 45. Hafiz has 37. More thoughts from Victor. And then it will be Simon Mann.
Well, it looked like a little bit of an escape there for Stark, because that seemed very high as it went over the bowler's head. But anyway, it's not a wide. But Stark has come back for 2 overs. Finch looking for a wicket, clearly. Well, 2 overs haven't produced one. He's had to take Maxwell off. He's just bowled 4 overs, and Maxwell, remember, is his 5th bowler. But Hafiz took a liking to him. Finch has got a few problems.
It's a good game. Australia, well, they were banging over the hills when they were batting earlier. As one's pushed up towards mid-off, they go for a quick single shot. The stumps misses, and it goes out towards deep square leg.
He's quicker than his uncle between the wickets.
Is that Lyon on the field? It is. Yeah, Nathan Lyon's on the field at mid-off. He threw the ball, missed the stumps. 122 for 2. Start of the 23rd over.
Let's have a look. He was in.
Who's off the field? Let's have a quick look round.
Well, it's not Stark. What about Richardson?
Here's Coulter Nile. Bowls to Hafiz. It's short. 123 for 2, Pakistan. Remember, they need 308 to win. In the 23rd over. How many scores of 300 or over have been successfully chased and in World Cup? Have you done that? You looked to me as if we did that one earlier, but no?
I was digging around with the last stat I had commissioned.
Well, I think...
Well, it is your job.
No, it's an impossible ask.
Coulter Nile bowls. Imam dabs it down towards third man. And there is another run. Sorry, I didn't know that you're already on a commission.
But I think, although it's nothing to do with me, but I like to interfere now and again, you don't have to accept every commission if it's a preposterous one. No. Even from me. And this one wasn't from me.
Bill Frindle just used to snort.
Yes.
If he
could develop a snort.
No.
To be fair, when he was asked stuff, he had to get out an entire library of books. At least I have stuff on the internet.
Coulter Nile bowls to Hafiz, and Hafiz plays that into the onside, too close to line at mid-on to contemplate seriously a single there.
I now think the person not on the field is David Warner. And I'm getting a thumbs up from the Australian wing.
Well, he's in Warner's position, isn't he, Lyon? Yeah, looks like Warner's
He might be putting his bowling boots on.
Well, he could be. He could well be. 124 for 2 in the 23rd over. 308 to win. Hafiz on 38. He plays that past the stumps to the onside, and they go through for 2 runs. Finch has to run back. It was a strange one, that. It was a poke back down the pitch that found the gap just past the stumps.
Yeah, you don't get many 2s straight here. He's not the fleetest of 12th men, I'd say, Nathan Lyon. Although he did run out, he was fleet enough to run out crucially James Vince in that Ashes series, but must be the best available.
Well, who else have they got?
Well,
They've got one
all
injured. Stoinis injured, haven't they?
Behrendorf.
Here is Coulter-Nile bowling. Played away into the onside by Hafiz, straight to Lyon this time. And there's no run, and that's the end of the over. 126 for 2 after 23 overs. Imam is 47 not out. Hafiz is 40 not out, and these two have been together since 56 for 2 in the 11th over.
I have some data on free hits via the Cricinfo database. What was it you wanted? You want to know?
I didn't ask this question. It was Daniel.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Oh well, Mohammed Hafiz actually comes out very well. He's faced 9 free hits, and I don't know how complete this data is. If it goes back, I don't think it goes back through the entire history of free hits. But the 9 they have recorded, Hafiz has 3 6s and a 4 and 3 2s and a single. So he's going.
He's top of the list.
He's 30 runs from 9 balls. Only Kusal Pereira of Sri Lanka has a better strike rate from 3 balls amongst the data I have access to. Josh Butler third, then McLeod of Scotland, and then Brendan McCullum.
There you go. See, I told you it was a tricky one.
Yeah.
I didn't ask that. I wouldn't have dreamt. I dared to ask.
Well, Bill would have given that
question.
double snort, wouldn't he? I think.
Well, I don't think there was a free hit in operation when Bill was scoring.
No, possibly not. Right, here is Cummins bowling a beauty that goes past the outside edge of Imam's bat. He was looking to play that purely defensively, felt he had to play at it, pushed at it. It was a ball outside the off stump fractionally, and it went past the edge and through to Carey.
Oh, then how you tickled. I mean, I wonder who the worst batsman is at free hits. Don't ask me. Don't. Can I step over? I can step over the line against him because he's useless against free hits.
I still remember Sehwag was quite, but George Bailey, 1 from 4.
Yeah. Dear, oh dear. Well, that's because he was facing in the wrong direction.
Henry, our producer today, I thought it was a mildly interesting conversation with him during the lunch interval.
That good, was it?
Cummins bowling, and it's knocked away off his hip by Imam towards deep back with square leg, and they are through for a single. That actually, his thought was, and it's open for discussion, and you can flick it away, but I don't like to flick away these things because I like.
You're so open-minded. I know
exactly. I like lateral thinking. He said that if you're in a situation like today, where there's a bit of juice in the pitch, say, and your intent when you come out as a batsman, opening bat, say someone like Imam, and just playing on merit, being defensive, and not looking to be too expansive. 127 for 2 in the 24th over. Cummins bowling. I think he wants a change in the field, and Maxwell at backward point says, who, me? But on we go. There's been no change. Here is Cummins from the river end. The batsman then has to face a free hit the next ball. Feels duty bound to play a sort of ultra aggressive shot and sort of take you out of your rhythm, take you out of your comfort zone.
Brilliant lateral thinking.
128 for 2. Cummins in, bowls. Oh, that one seems to keep a bit low on Imam as he feels for it, tries to run it down towards third man, and goes through to Carey, the wicket-keeper. 128 for 2 in the 24th.
Well, getting back to Henry's theory of the purposeful no ball, it's not unprecedented. You should know this. I tell you, used to bowl no balls on purpose. One of your heroes,
Mike Proctor.
Yeah, Mike Proctor.
Yeah, because he used to bowl no ball bouncers.
That's right.
Yeah. 128 for 2 in the 24th. Cummins goes in and bowls to him and dabbed away, looking for a single, not there. Maxwell swoops, coming in from backward point. No run.
They reckon that Proctor used to bowl no ball bouncers at tail enders, so he would terrify them, but he'd still have 3 more balls left in the over to bowl them out. Yeah. So now we know we knew there was something. Now we know what Henry and Mike Proctor have got in common in terms of their lateral thinking.
Yeah. Well,
can't think of anything else.
Well, that's great.
Oh. Henry bowls off. He was classically orthodox as he bowled off the right foot. You see.
Pat Cummins goes in and bowls. Ooh. It's a lovely shot and a great piece of fielding from Cummins off his own bowling. It was drilled back by him, and that was going up to the long on boundary. Hit that sweetly Cummins stuck down his left hand and stopped it. And that is the end of the overs. A good over from him. He's bowled 5 overs and 1 for 20. He's not the problem for Australia.
No.
128 for 2. So actually, in the first over you bowled to someone like Imam, if he was looking to be studious, or Edrich like, say, then you could, to use an example from the way past, you could actually bowl 2 at him and get him to play in a couple of extra.
And loosen him up.
Yeah, loosen him up, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a high risk.
some batsmen are very cunning in that they do differentiate between what is a free hit and a normal delivery.
It's a high risk strategy. Coulter Nile bowls to Hafiz, a short, and Hafiz thinks about it and half goes for it and then pulls out and it goes flying over his shoulder through to the wicketkeeper. The crowd wanted a wide, it's not signalled.
With the game over, having just lost, having employed this tactic, I think you
Was the fine third man boundary, brilliant save down on the rope, and they go through for 2 runs. Is that Cummins down there? I think it is. Yeah, away to his left, excellent piece of fielding. He saved 2 runs there.
You almost notice a new technique amongst boundary fielders, and they get their dive in very early, so they're already on the ground as they're just sliding towards that ball. I think the fielding coaches have been working on that, but it's a great effort from
that was a magnificent piece of fielding. Even his trousers came off. That shows how wholehearted he was in stopping that. Now he gets a straightforward piece of fielding as it's guided away by Hafiz straight to him on the third man boundary.
I suppose that is a definition of commitment.
It is.
To keep going when your trousers are falling down.
Yeah, as he slid, the momentum, contact with the grass, took his trousers down.
Right, that's all you players if your trousers are falling down today. Just keep going.
He's got those undershorts on underneath, so no real embarrassment. 131 for 2. Here is Imam. There's a slip in for Coulter Nile, who goes in and bowls to Imam, and Imam chops away at that and misses. Again, that extra bounce we've seen all day today, and you feel at any moment a bowler could pick up 2 or 3 quick wickets. Here is Carl Pendlebury, listening to a lot of cricket thanks to TMS and BBC Sport. Already I feel that Andy Zoltzman gets my vote as MVP for the Cricket World Cup. We've only had a couple of weeks. MVP already. You still haven't answered that question, Andy, that I asked you about 10 minutes ago. Here's Coulter Nile bowling, and Imam comes down the pitch and hits this over long off, out towards the boundary, and it's 1 bounce for 4. Change of tactics from Imam, giving the bowler the charge, and he got enough on that to take it over the infield and out towards the boundary, and that is a half century for Imam Ul-Haq. 52 from
73 balls, 7 fours. It's his 12th score of 50 or more in just 31 innings in ODI cricket, 6 of which he has converted into centuries. It's his first 50 against Australia in 4 innings.
Thank you, Andy. That was most valuable.
Here's Coulter Nile to Imam, and Imam gets a ball that's short of a length. He swings it away, doesn't really time it, goes rolling out to deep square leg, and they come through for a single. Halfway stage of Pakistan's innings. They are not quite halfway there.
They're ahead of the duck with Lewis.
Of runs, and they are certainly not halfway in terms of wickets lost, so that's a major plus for them. 136 for 2, and as Victor points out, yeah, Duckworth Lewis, they're doing well on Duckworth Lewis. So Andy, how many scores of over 300 have been successfully chased in World Cup history? Pakistan need 308 to win.
Well, there will have been, if they do it, it will be the 9th winning score of 300 or more.
On the chase.
Check a couple to see whether they were chasing 300 or 299. 3 of the top 7 chases have been by Ireland.
Here goes Cummins into bowl 2. Imam, is he caught behind? He is. It was a short ball down the leg side. He went for the pull shot, and he got a little feather through to the keeper. It might have come off the glove, it might have come off the bat, but that was a bonus wicket for Australia. Cummins with his extra pace. It looked poorly directed. Imam thought, I'll tuck in there, and all he did was get a little edge through to the keeper, Carey, who took the catch. It was off the glove, and it's 136 for 3, and Imam has gone for 53.
Well, he looks distraught. He's played really well as an old-fashioned opener right at the start, seeing off that new ball. Caught down the leg side, you always feel unlucky, but that happens so often nowadays that I think pace bowlers are starting to take credit up to a point. You chase that bouncer as you instinctively would, and how often does that leg side bouncer, if it's got that extra bit of zip, take the glove? And it's almost, I think we'll have to try and find an honest bowling coach or an honest fast bowler to ask whether they really do aim for that. But it happens so often that you think it's not the worst ploy. The bouncer, just leg side, he couldn't quite catch up with it. It was a quick ball, and a bit of either glove or a bat. I'm not quite sure which.
It was glove.
It was glove.
Look on the replay, yeah.
And you're on your way. So whilst we always instinctively say, oh, that was unlucky, I think increasingly in this World Cup especially, actually, with a lot of bouncers being bowled, it's a kind of legitimate dismissal for which the batsman can say, hang on a minute, I've got to learn to leave that one and get the wide.
Because it would have been a wide, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But it's a vital wicket for Australia because that partnership was very dangerous. Suddenly they're slightly ahead of the game now, and Cummins
Faraz is the new man, the captain. A slip and a gully in. Cummins. At one stage in their innings, Cummins roars in, bowls to Hafiz, who guides that nicely. Perfect.
Aaron Finch bowl the ball to one of the fielders. He might have a bowl in a minute.
Through to Kerry. What does that Duckworth Lewis say now, though?
Well, it's now gone up in
147.
Yeah, so it's at one end, Cummins, who's done the business, who's found a wicket from somewhere, and now, whether this is right or not, I'm not sure, but he's going to try and sneak a few of these problem overs in. The problem overs being certainly probably a bit of Maxwell and a Richardson was not entirely convincing. So Finch, who bowls left arm spin, almost exclusively, I think, in white ball cricket. He's the captain. He's going to take a bit of responsibility, and he's going to slip himself on after a wicket's fallen.
Well, this feels like quite a big moment here. What did Pakistan do? Its first ball is swept away out towards the deep back of square leg boundary. This could go for 4. It does. Well, Sarfraz is a very good player of spin.
Yeah, well, that's a good shot. It wasn't a great ball, but he got full value for the shot because the man on the sweep on the boundary was a bit square. They've now pushed him a little bit finer, but he found the gap there, got full value, 4 runs.
143 for 3. Finch there went into bowl and then stopped.
But he stopped.
He hasn't got the right field.
Also, if you were watching Sarfraz, he was taking guard on middle and leg, and then just as he was running up, he switched to about a foot outside leg stump. What if you do it again? There he goes.
Finch goes in, bowls to Sarfraz. Oh, that's a remarkable piece of bowling. He's actually beat him out on the outside edge.
With the ball missing leg stump.
With the ball missing leg stump. And the wicketkeeper Carey took the bails off, and he's appealed Carey, and I think umpire Long has said not out. The foot was back, although it was in the air for a long time. Carey fumbled it. I think that was a mis-stumping, you know.
Well, we'll have a look.
It was a remarkable piece of cricket.
The foot went up, and it went, I think, back down again. But it was up in the air for a while. I mean, he's only just come in.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. I've been on the outside edge, but missing the leg stump. Here is Sarfraz dabbing it into the onside. They're off for a quick single towards short fine leg. And they get it as well as the throw is flicked in by Marsh.
I think the Pakistan dressing room think that's quite a good thing. Well, Sarfraz mucking around too much too early. But he did get 4 from the first ball.
He is a
yeah.
144 for 3.
Now they're juggling around with the field because the man on the sweep has come up to save the single, and the leg side man is much squarer.
So Fee's on strike. Finch goes in and bowls, and he takes it off the stumps, playing off the back foot out towards deep cover, and they jog through for a single. So what has Finch come up with in one-day internationals with the ball?
He's bowled 41.2 overs before this match, 3 wickets for 219, tidy economy rate of 5.3.
Yeah, Simon's well outside leg stump, and he's followed him, and he's hoiked it away to cow corner. Well, Australia positioned a man, and there is only a single. That felt like a 4-ball, really. Sarfraz rather missed out there.
But he was standing about 18 inches outside leg stump when that ball was bowled.
Finch bowls to Hafiz. It's a full toss, which is swatted away out towards the field. Is he going to be caught? He is! Oh, he's picked him out, and Finch has got a wicket. He did not deserve one, but Hafiz has picked out the fielder, Mitchell Stark, right in front of the dressing rooms. He did not get quite enough on it. Stark took it 2 hands above his head, near the boundary rope, and that is a bonus wicket. 146 for 4. It was a full toss, he swatted away. It really should have hit the 6, and it wasn't quite. And Stark has taken the catch, and what a blow that is to Pakistan's chances. Hafiz gone for 46.
Well, that's the biggest boundary, and he'd have been better off actually just making sure he missed the fielder. If I was Finch now, I'd take myself off.
Well, he's done his job in one sense. But Alison Mitchell's coming in.
And you feel that's a crushing blow for Pakistan. Hafiz had played really well. It was a horrible ball, about a knee-high full toss, round about leg stump. Well, he hit it pretty well, but not well enough. He hit it about 70 yards. It's a long boundary square here towards the players' pavilion. And Mitchell Stark, I think it was, who caught the ball. He didn't have to move an inch, and he wasn't going to drop it. So that's a real bonus wicket. You've got Cummins coming back and sort of contriving something, albeit down the leg side, hook shot, glove, key wicket, and now you've got this knee-high full toss, clunked to deep mid-wicket, another wicket gone, big wicket that.
Sir Finch's 4th ODI wicket, only his 2nd since 2013. He did bowl a tidy spell against Pakistan in March this year, a full 10 overs, 1 for 41 in Sharjah. But other than that, infrequently used.
You know, hello Vic. I think I last saw Aaron Finch bowl in the nets at Adelaide with his batting pads on. Wow. There's something about part-time spin, though. I'm sure it just gets into a batsman's mind.
Well, you've got someone like Aaron Finch who's just bowled, who, you know, second team cricket club level.
Here goes Cummins in outside the off stump. Sarfraz is taking a quick single shot at the stumps, is missed. But the new batsman Shoaib Malik had him diving full stretch. Welcome to the crease. Needing 7 and over from here with 6 wickets in hand, and just at a time when the situation for Pakistan has got that air of fraughtness about it.
Well, I think that was out if he hit, you know. He was taken by surprise, Shoaib Malik, who's no spring chicken. Might have been out if it had hit. Just managed to dive, but the ball didn't hit the stumps.
Fancy
it is quite a
Glenn
contrast.
Maxwell with the throw.
I mean, Finch would probably not get a bowl regularly in club cricket for the first team anyway. And at the other end, you've got Cummins, who would destroy club cricketers in the first team. So it's an odd contrast.
But the full toss, when you can't, I mean, the batsman would have just thought, yep, go after it.
But you've got to
get enough on it.
You can't guarantee. I mean, it is a long boundary out there, and if you can't clear the boundary, you've got to miss the fielders.
Yeah. And barely had to move.
Of course, you don't practice those very often because you don't get bowled them very often. Slow.
That'd be something, wouldn't it, in the nets? Just give me a few slow full tosses just to get me.
Yeah.
You never know. This
down quite literally. Take his guard and get ready to face up to PAK Cummins, who's into his 7th over.
Cummins is there to field. Well,
Pakistan, just looking at what's to come, Pakistan got quite a long tail by modern standards. So they need a big partnership now.
We haven't seen Asif Ali yet, have we?
No, he's dangerous,
next.
but after him, you are into the bowlers.
Cummins is running in hard towards us. Shoaib is there, inside edge, taken brilliantly by Carey, diving away to his left-hand side, grabs it one-handed. It's off the inside edge. He ultimately takes it down the leg side. Excellent bit of keeping. And Australians have rushed around Alex Carey. They're ruffling his cap in congratulation. And Shoaib Malik is on his way for a 2-ball duck. And Pakistan a 147 for 5.
Well, the game's taken a huge turn, and what a good catch. Inside edge, you're not really expecting those necessarily. It takes quite a deflection. Dives to his left, sticks out his left hand, and there the ball remains. So Cummins and Carey combining brilliantly to take 2 wickets in a more conventional manner than the combination of Stark and Finch, with Stark in the role of catcher and Finch in the role of bowler. But that's 3 wickets in the space of no time for not many runs, and Andy will be possibly more specific.
Yes, things are falling apart. Is the bottom line, Andy?
3 for 10 in 2.3 overs, and a missed run out in that time as well. PAK Cummins up to 9 wickets. Only Mohammed Amir, who moved up to 10 wickets so far in the tournament, has more.
Well,
the guitar player is going to have calluses on his fingers. He's suddenly been lurched into action.
The new batter is indeed Asif Ali. So this is now Pakistan's real last big hope in terms of
they need
a
a magical. I mean, the run rate is
special.
pretty demanding, but not impossible.
No, it's not out of control, but at 7 and over and only 5 wickets in hand. 2 slips in place. Cummins in, and it's past the edge of Asif. First ball through to the keeper. And the oohs and the ahs just tell you that Australia are, as the Aussies like to say, up and about in the field. 2 slips. Maxwell looking eager at backward point. Cover. Mid-wicket. Deep square leg. He's back on the fence. And also a fine leg. But you just fancy those slips could come into play. Very light cloud up above us now. So almost clear sky in the distance over the Quantock Hills. It's been dry here all day. As Cummins in again to Asif. He gets some bat on it, angling out to point. Maxwell picks up. Call of no. Keeping it tight. And Australia at the moment.
This is good. Last 3 wickets, 11 runs, a glove down the leg side from Imam, who was playing nicely on 53.
It was high quality in the first innings. He got his reward.
Into the hands of Mitchell Stark.
Yeah, first fifer in ODIs for Amir. 5 for 30. Cummins into Asif, who's crouching low, gets his bat down onto it, and he's actually worked it down to very fine. Long on, it's a vacant region. And mid-off has had to chase all the way back to the boundary to pick up. They'll come back for a second. Throw comes back into the bowler's end. Cummins parries and then gathers. It's the over. 28 are gone in this run chase. And so Pakistan, their target was set at 308 by Australia after they managed to bowl them out for 307 with an over to spare. The Australian total did fall away. They lost 6 for 30, having been 277 for 4. So it could have been even stiffer total as it is. Australia have got themselves into a fantastic position here with the ball, and Aaron Finch is giving himself a second over. He's in conversation with Glenn Maxwell. Maxwell maybe giving him a few little bits of advice. 149 for 5. We welcome Ramiz Raja, Pakistan's former captain, back in. Oh, Ramiz, this game, I think your own emotions have swung one way and then the other, but here is Aaron Finch down the leg side though, and wide signalled by the umpire, and they've scampered one as well.
I was questioning Aaron Finch's introduction at that point. Sarfraz had just walked in and he's so good against spin, and he picked up Hafiz's wicket. So, I mean, that too off a full toss. I think this run chase is dying very quickly now for Pakistan. 5 down, 151.
Well, they could do with some fireworks. But here is Finch in again, tickled off the legs. No run though, because square leg is there to pick up. Aaron Finch with his left arm spin, accounting for Hafiz. There's a full toss there, rather deserved to be hit away,
sure,
but he didn't get enough of it. Drops a little bit shorter that time, worked through the gap into mid-wicket, brings the man in off the boundary, and so Asif picks up another one here. The throw comes back into Aaron Finch. When you faced part-time spin, what was your mindset? Is there a little element of niggle in there?
Yeah, must not get out to a part-timer, and that sort of hampered your natural flow.
Finch in again and making some space that time. Sarfraz exposing his stumps, backing away towards leg, playing out to cover, no run.
That's good bowling by Aaron Finch, because he flighted it more so that there's no strength behind that shot.
A little quicker, Sarfraz going back, works it down to long on for 1. Did you ever get outs to a part-timer that you remember?
I must have, actually. Yeah, it relaxes your focus also. You know that you're not being threatened, and so it relaxes you in the wrong way.
Carey bobs down behind the stumps. The batsman wasn't ready, but he is now. Bowling to Asif. Works it again down to long off. Long on for 1. Coulter Nile comes in to pick up. You see, I guess, more often in Test cricket that the part-timer will come on, and someone like Joe Root have a magic arm occasionally. Here's another single, keeping Coulter Nile busy at long on. So they're rotating the strike this over, ticking over with the ones. 6 off the over. 155 for 5. It was a better over from Finch. I think he's only just warming to the task now, isn't he? He'll be coming back on for a third before we know it.
Yeah.
155 for 5 then. 29 overs gone, and the run rate 7.29.
Subscribe to Netflix through PTCL and enjoy hassle-free payment through your monthly PTCL bill. To subscribe, dial 1218 now.
Make it tough for Australia. But 7.29, they need to generate pace, they need to have a good partnership. Pakistan cannot afford to lose more wickets than that in the middle phase of the innings, so that carries extra bit of pressure. But they were going so well that pull shot attempt, it was not needed by Imam.
Kane Richardson has Sarfraz walking out of his crease and taking a single to the vacant square leg region. Thinking about a second, and Australian fielders flock and converge on the stumps. In the end, the throw goes to Richardson at the non-striker's end, but they're making sure Pakistan are not allowed any little extras here or there. Keeping those runs down. They'll give away 1 if they have to.
Pat Cummins' second spell, 3 overs, 2 for 8.
That was fantastic work from a quality operator.
Sure.
In comes Richardson. Bowling now outside the off stump, and it's been cut way down to third man. Coulter Nile picks up. Throw comes back in over the head of Carey. Terrific catch that he took a moment ago, wasn't it, to dismiss Shoaib Malik. Leaping away to his left, sort of slightly wrong-footed, because you might expect the outside edge, but the inside edge, he had to then go the other way. It was a real sort of reflex grab, but he had to stretch for it. Excellent work from South Australian. Richardson in now, crouching and then pulling is Sarfraz, standing up, getting right over the top of the ball to control it. At the top of the bounce, they're coming back for a second, throw coming into Richardson's end. And he takes it over the stumps. Good throw in from the deep by Pat Cummins. He's using all his athleticism down there on the boundary today. We saw him do a fantastic save in front of the pavilion stand at the far end, in front of the floodlights. 159 for 5. Richardson in again. There now, ball. Sarfraz sits that bottom edge into the ground though, and then ball balloons up to Carey behind the stumps. I think for a moment Sarfraz was worried that the bottom edge could have cannoned back onto the stumps, but flew straight behind him through to Carey. Pakistan after this match, of course the next one is the big one. Well, they're all big matches, aren't they? But in terms of the fans, what they'll be looking for is the big one against India, Old Trafford, and South Africa at Lords, followed by New Zealand. They finish with Afghanistan and Bangladesh as Richardson is in. Sarfraz again crouching low, standing up, sending the ball past square leg. Cummins comes in from the boundary, and another single. 160 for 5, 5 off the over so far. Do you look forward to that match?
There'll be a lot of noise.
Yes,
a lot of emotions. It's always a special contest, India-Pakistan. Because of the political needle, because of rich history between the two sides.
In comes Richardson. Sarfraz edge behind taken. Another one goes down.
It's
Asif Ali. And he's on his way, tucking his bat under his arm. And Australia have really got it over Pakistan now. 160 for 6. Asif gone for 5.
Yeah, I think it was a tough ball to negotiate in the end, because once you got committed to that line, and the ball was a difficult one because it rose just a little bit extra than he was expecting, and so he was committed in a feather edge and he's gone. Asif Ali is not a technician. Asif Ali is more of a basher, and so if you give him a brief that go out there and just destroy the opposition, you have 10 overs, he'll be brilliant. But if you ask him to construct an innings and play a technical hand, he'll not be that great. So it's a difficult little gig for him.
He needed to bat long, didn't he?
Yeah.
There's still 20 overs left, but 7 and over needed. And now into the bowlers with Hassan Ali coming out to join Sarfraz. Well, yeah, from here, the jubilation amongst the Australians in the field told you everything, and that was a pretty decisive wicket in terms of the last of the recognised batsmen. Sarfraz, of course, still out there, but all those to come now, they can start to attack the bowlers. Try if they can to wrap this match up. What resistance can Pakistan offer? 53 from Imam. Fakar Zaman was the first out though for a 2-ball duck. 30 from Baba, 46 from Hafiz, 5 from Asif, another duck from Shoaib Malik. So no one has been able to stamp their mark and say, yes, I'm going to take this run chase by the scruff of the neck.
In a 300 run chase, you need a century from your top order. You know, 30s and 40s and 50s are not going to win you the day.
No more Finch. He's done his job for the day, he feels. The 2 overs, but Maxwell is going to continue. He's bowled 4 overs, 27 runs so far, and he's got Sarfraz to bowl at. He's tinkering with his field. He's got a deep mid-wicket back, deep backward square as well. Maxwell in was off spin down the leg side though, and a wide signalled. Carey with a very smart leg side take though, but it's 1 more for Pakistan's total. 161 for 6. They are now in pursuit of that 308. In goes Maxwell again. No, a false start to his run-up in the bright yellow strip of Australia with green across the shoulders and down the sleeve. And Maxwell in again, drops a little shorter, going back, and Ahmed Sarfraz will take a single out to cover. Finch is there to pick up the wicket-taking Finch. Quite something to have a World Cup wicket to your name. You'll be delighted with that and dying off it.
That's what they want, get Hassan Ali on, but I think with him 161 for 6 or 162 for 6. Anyway, back to the wicket. Cross seam from Richardson. And I think that's not a bad option with the pitches now with a little bit more grass. And Liam Plunkett doing
Maxwell steadying himself. Birds in the distance. Swooping over the tiled roof of the pavilion. Maxwell again surveying, checking everyone exactly where.
That one skids through, a bit too paced.
Yeah, well,
pressure is all on the batsman at the moment. And you can tell by the noise of the crowd talking of the Pakistan fans, normally so vocal, and they were certainly.
Yeah, it's a hum.
Everyone is settled in their seats. The flags are folded up at the moment. Maxwell into Sarfraz. He goes back, tucks it off his hip again, calls batsman through sharply and quickly for the single. And 64 for 6. It was the last time these two played each other in a World Cup setting in England in the 99 competition. It's turned to mid-wicket and no run. It was the World Cup final with Australia. His pass, Carey, and he's running away down to the boundary. Warner was in hot pursuit, but the ball gets there first. And Maxwell is rather ruining what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you assess Carey's performance behind the stumps, because this was a difficult one actually. It hit part of his glove. He's taken a couple of real good ones, and he's missed a stumping chance. He's just been a little untidy at times.
Fuller defended back down the pitch. The edge flew off pretty thick and fast off the outside edge, of course, with the keeper standing up to the spin. But it's the 31st over just been completed. Pakistan 168 for 6. Sarfraz on 17.
PTCL Unlimited Internet, digital quality TV या crystal clear voice quality telephone connection लगवाएं और installation charges पर 40% discount हासिल करें.
They will remain in 8th position on the table. Australia will move up to 6 points, well topping behind New Zealand, who have a superior net run rate. The emphatic victory they had over Sri Lanka at the start of the tournament. Richardson in, punched by Sarfraz back down the pitch, and Richardson, he got a hand to it, got a boot to it as well, and picks up and checks that his ponytail is... He's got a ponytail? No, he's got a headband on. He just sort of felt towards the nape of his neck. But it's the headband keeping the hair tightly back. It just pokes out from above his collar in a little curl. Turns at the end of his mark. Tall man, bearded, running in out to Sarfraz. Turns in behind square for 1. But it's boundaries they need, isn't it? What did you make? I mean, were you heartened by the start of the innings? Baba, the way he went about his business in partnership with Imam as well? Yeah,
you saw a lot of style from Baba. He got out just at the wrong time because he'd done the hard work, and 7 boundaries in a 30 score was delightful. And then Imam getting out when he just got a 50, and Hafiz then left immediately. So that have really brought Pakistan down in this run chase.
Richardson rushing in with 2 slips in place down the leg side there. It'll be a wide. He's brought in a second slip to the new batsman. Just put a bit of extra pressure on. The scoreboard's got itself confused. It's got Amir as having come out. That's definitely Hassan Ali out there in the middle. The scoreboard almost looks like it's being propped up by a tower of scaffolding, but I don't think the two are connected. It's for the TV camera gantry. It's Richardson in again now. Outside edge as he came forward. Just turns it and knocks the ball down to the ground, picked up by Stark, who's there on the edge of the circle at cover.
This bowling performance is something for Pakistan really to digest and take a leaf out of Australian medium pace bowling, because what they've done is just hit the deck hard in that good length area, nothing more than that. Maybe cross seam deliveries every now and then, but they not look for magic deliveries, the Yorkers, the outswingers, the big cutters.
Richardson rushes in. That is a bounce, and that has been heaved over mid-wicket. There is a man there, but it crashes over the fence and into the lower reaches of the crowd for 6. Well, there you go. That's a Hassan Ali.
Yeah, I mean, every time you try your hand at doing something different, you penalise. So this was, I think, you're trying to down a tail ender and trying to show him how difficult it is to hit the bouncer, but he was so good with that pull shot.
Yeah, there is only one man, is that Cummins, who's stationed down there. And actually, direction-wise, it would have been potentially straight to him, but he got enough on it. Here he is going again, he's tried for the Yorker, but he's now been swatted down the ground, lofted hugely for 6 more. Over long on. Well, the crowd is suddenly up once more.
They've erupted.
They have needed this for some time as well. Well, the run rate's just dropped below 7, 6.9. But how much longer can Hassan keep up an assault like this? 6 over deep mid-wicket, 6 over wide long on. The slip has now been moved out to mid-wicket. And Richardson rushes in again, bangs it in, but a little wider, and a big swing and a miss from Hassan and through to Carey. So given Richardson perhaps something to think about. 32 overs gone, Hassan 17, Sarfaraz 18, but Pakistan still a long way from their target. 126 needed off 108, but only 4 wickets in hand. Ramiz Raj, a few more thoughts from you. Jeff Lemon is coming in.
So if that wicket's in hand, obviously 126 from 108 balls is a doable job. In this day and age, you know, teams at the World Cup level do the job quite judiciously without creating drama, but trust Pakistan to be different.
It does seem to be the way,
yeah.
Although I do wonder how much you might think, Ramiz, that's a cliche that's annoying, or how justified it is, as Maxwell flights a ball and he's getting the charge from Sarfaraz, tries to heave it over wide long on, and in the end only edges it into his ankle and about a metre away from the bat. Dot ball. So we're strapped in for the Hassan Ali show, but he's at the non-striker's end at the moment. Sarfaraz pulls, looking to get his lower order clouter back on strike. Will get a single out to deep backward square, 184 for 6. Andy.
Those sixes were Hassan Ali's 15th and 16th one international sixes, and just 239 balls that he's faced. He's hit 9 of his last 90 over the ropes in this format.
Should we promote him, Andy?
9 out of 90. Very, very good going. He's got the second best strike rate in this Pakistan 11 behind Asif Ali. Strikes at about 107, I think, from memory. Maxwell bowling to Hassan Ali, who's not trying to hit a 6. He's backing away and trying to flat bat a 4 through cover, but he hits it straight to Usman Khawaja. Aaron Finch, rather, out there. There's no run. Maxwell just checking where his field should be. Long off, long on, waiting for the straight hit, and that's exactly what they get. Long, over long on, and into the crowd. Coulter-Nile can only watch it sail over his head, and it bounces back, is thrown back from the crowd, and yet another 6 goes to that tally, and the Andy Zaltzman numbers get updated on the fly. 189 for 6 is the Pakistan score.
Yeah, terrific 6 this, because he had to adjust very quickly. It was a flatter trajectory delivery, harder length. Well struck.
He comes down the wicket again, drives hard, this time along the carpet. Coulter-Nile runs around to that straight position down the ground and fields. Just a single will result. Hassan Ali has 24 from 11. Pakistan 190 for 6. The truculent scoreboard has stalled again on 168, so they're a long way behind on that measure, but the reality is different as Sarfaraz backs away and cuts out of
Subscribe to Netflix through PTCL and enjoy hassle-free payment through your monthly PTCL bill. To subscribe, dial 1218 now.
Had 33 of them bowled.
And Pakistan were not able to play pressure points properly when they needed to put their head down. After getting a 50, it was so critical for Imam to just carry on with the effort. And another 30-40 runs added to that partnership would have meant more pressure on Australia. They would have then changed their game plan, would have been under a little bit of pressure. But Pakistan thrown away such important positions just by being casual and at times reckless.
Just those first 4 wickets were all gifts, really. The 3 top edges.
Absolutely.
A couple caught in the deep.
I don't know whether Shoaib Malik needs to be in this playing 11 or not, because you see, now he's been used as a bowling option more than the batting all-rounder that he was. In Pakistan, in a run chase situation, need a batting all-rounder than a bowling all-rounder. So, I mean, that position will have to be re-looked at.
Yeah, well, he didn't get much of a chance today. He faced the first good ball, really, that dismissed a batsman, got that inside edge.
Yeah, you see, fast bowlers will target him, Shoaib Malik. You know, he's excellent against spin. But he'll not be fed any spinners when he comes on to bat here in English conditions. There'll always be something in it for the pacers, so they'll introduce pace against Shoaib Malik. maybe, you know, they need to change the playing 11 a little.
What would your suggestion be in terms of how they can do that with the squad they have?
I think you've got to get Shadab in every time, and maybe at the cost of Shoaib Malik, because Shadab can bat as well, but it's such a value with the ball. You know, the googlies and you know, the leg spinners are used these days as attacking weapon, and you cannot win matches these days if you don't pick wickets. Simple as that. And so he's got to be your go-to guy in the middle with the new ball as well at times against guys who do not play spin that well.
Yeah, we saw almost the two sides of Pakistan just in that bowling innings where Amir started really well, everybody else didn't, and then but by the end of the Australian innings it seemed like the Pakistan team were up and about. They had this energy and purpose in the field, and they'd managed to restrict the Australians, so they'd managed a personality shift even in that space of time. It's that constant discussion about Pakistan being unpredictable. Is that realistic? Do we draw that conclusion that we don't draw about other teams when they play unpredictably as well?
Yeah, I mean, every team is unpredictable to a certain degree, but there are more. Yeah, I mean, it's a term that they do not like.
Right.
It's a term that the fans do not like as well.
Coming to the end of a drinks break. There are plenty of fans enjoying a lot of what they've seen today, but not quite so much enjoying Pakistan being 6 wickets down. 6 for 191. Richardson starting a new over from the river end, and Sarfraz is driving a single down towards mid-on. They dart through for the quick run. Sarfraz Ahmed, the captain, on to 21. Pakistan 192 for 6. So they're going at 5.8 and over now. The required rate 6.8, so it's not out of hand. It's just the wickets in hand the problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was their choice after winning the toss to chase a target, and they should have done a better job of it.
Kane Richardson, long and tall and bearded, outside the off stump, and Hassan Ali's trying to slog away to the leg side. Richardson was wise to that. He just hung the ball out about as wide as he could in back of a length, saying, well, if you want to T-ball that and send one straight up in the air, be my guest.
Now that's the problem with a tail ender, is trying to hit every ball out of the park, because he just doesn't know when to stop or what lengths to hit. And well bowled.
Although if he'd gone offside with that, there's nobody out on the offside. He could easily have carved that for 4. Just trying to go 2 leg side. This time he goes offside, through cover for 4. Extra cover if you don't mind. Got the width. Got it just back of a length, and threw his hands through the ball, and that's a lovely strike from Hassan Ali. He goes to 28. Pakistan 196 for 6.
He absolutely smoked it. So what's the problem here? I mean, Hassan Ali would be telling the other guys, look, this was a doable job. If I can get 28 off 13, why couldn't you? I mean, strong resistance and good bit of shot hitting. 4 and 6 hitting now. 2 4s and 3 6s.
He's got a top score of 59, so if you could match that today, they might be in with a shout. Kane Richardson to Hassan Ali. He does go offside again, clubs it over cover this time with a flat bat rather than a straight one. And that will be 4 more. Pakistan's 200 is up. Hassan Ali 32 from 14. Pakistan 200 for 6. Well,
yeah, I mean, 108 needed. So I don't know whether they're looking at the bigger picture here, and maybe Hassan needs to just restrain himself. He's done a fair bit of damage in the last 2 or 3 overs. Just not now got to be a little bit sensible.
They'd have to think they're a chance of a wicket almost every ball, though, as Richardson bowls to Hassan, who pulls top edge up in the air, and it might be coming down at deep fine leg. Khawaja takes the catch.
Silly.
And it didn't feel that far away. Didn't time the stroke at all. Hassan Ali has come, he has entertained, and now he will go. 32 from 15 balls. Pakistan 200 for 7. They need 108 more. Australia need just the 3 wickets to bowl them out.
Yeah,
I cannot believe it. All day, just as they start to climb back into it, another wicket falls. It's the back of a length. Richardson backs the bouncer. Cross seam once again. As we've seen today. made 32 from.
I do wonder what's going on out there if he's batting with his captain in the middle.
Absolutely.
How does that captain not have the ability to make the input, to have the control, to say, hey, you're doing great, this is good?
A bit of damage, 32 of 15, you know, there's